Okay guys, Bernardo Faria here, huge honor for me. Guys, today I'm replying the question here from Alex Delannoy. So he asked on my YouTube channel in the comments, what's the biggest fundamental white belt miss? So for a white belt, a person who's just starting Jiu-Jitsu, what's the biggest thing they miss? Because Alex sounds like he's a black belt, and sometimes he doesn't know where to start teaching a white belt. So guys, I would say here that the biggest mistake that any instructor can do with a white belt, with a beginner, is to try to teach him very complex techniques in the beginning. When I mean complex techniques, for example, the first jiu-jitsu class of anybody should never be like a triangle, in my opinion at least. I mean, like, the person doesn't know what's jiu-jitsu yet, and now he's gonna learn a triangle, and what's that? Like, it's very confusing for him. So what I would say is, like, for anybody who is starting jiu-jitsu, and if you're a black belt and you're teaching him, I would start trying to teach like what's guard, right? Oh, guard is something that we learn as a self-defense. If one person is standing and tries to attack you, you're gonna block him using your feet as people use on MMA, on UFC, and you can give the person examples. Now everything starts getting way more clear to the person. Oh, okay, so this is guard, and protecting him to attack me. And then you start telling him like what's guard in Jiu-Jitsu, right? Okay, guard in Jiu-Jitsu, you have different type of guards. You have close guard, you have open guard, you have half guard, and this and that. And now it's much easier for that person to learn. So what I would say is, like, for every new beginner, for every white belt, we should always try to teach them the most basic techniques, and if possible, in some set of order. So don't show the person like what's guard and then you show what's the armbar from the mount. No, explain that when you are on guard, your next goal is to get a sweep. Once you get a sweep, so now probably you are on the mount. Now that you are on the mount, you can go for the armbar and that kind of stuff. I truly believe that, like, mixing up a little bit of self-defense with Jiu-Jitsu is very interesting as well in this phase when someone is a beginner, because a beginner, a white belt, many times he doesn't have a clue what's Jiu-Jitsu. Sometimes he thinks it's like karate. So we gotta explain to him what's Jiu-Jitsu, and self-defense, I think, is a very good way to explain that. I love, like, teaching a self-defense to a beginner when I say, like, okay, pretend that you are trying to attack me and we are both standing, and it's almost like a street fight. So as I know Jiu-Jitsu, my goal here is to try to engage with you, to take you down, because once I take you down, I'm a grappler and I know what to do on the ground, and you're probably done. So that kind of stuff. But anyways, stick with the basics here. Try to teach them as many basic moves as possible. I remember when I started Jiu-Jitsu, for example, back in my hometown, Juiz de Fora, my instructor would only teach the very, very, very basic techniques. For example, on the close guard, hand on the belt sweep. When you are on the mount, the person on bottom learns how to do the upa, and the person on top learns how to do armbar and Americana. And then if you are on top of the close guard, how to stand up, open the guard, and do the toreano. So every time you go through these very basic techniques, the person who is joining Jiu-Jitsu right now, he's going to start understanding how Jiu-Jitsu works. Because, for example, when I'm doing the toreano, I'm under close guard, my goal is to get rid of your legs. So I'm going to stand up, I'm going to open the guard, and I'm going to go to your side, and I get side control. Once I'm side control, what's my next goal here? I can go for submission, or I can go to the mount. Okay? If I get to the mount, what's the next goal? Now I can go for another submission, and the person on board is going to probably try to escape. And that kind of stuff. So I would say, like, pick the most basic Jiu-Jitsu techniques we have and try to divide them in order per classes. Many great Jiu-Jitsu schools like Alliance, probably Gracie Barra, and many others, they have a curriculum for that. So they already have the curriculum made. But if you want a very small Jiu-Jitsu school, you can build your own curriculum. So make some research, see what other people are doing, and try to always put the most basic techniques ever, and you go from there. So bottom line here, avoid teaching a beginner the 50-50 guard, even the Hiva guard, like a flying armbar, that kind of stuff. And always try to give that person the view of someone who has never done jiu-jitsu before. So he probably understands jiu-jitsu as like UFC. So you gotta explain to him how jiu-jitsu works. There's no punch, there's no kicks. If you get a submission, you get a tap. And what's guard passing, what's sweep, what's a back take, what's mount. You gotta teach that type of stuff to the beginner, in my opinion. So I would say here that the biggest mistake that any jiu-jitsu instructor can do with a beginner is to teach like a very competitive technique to the beginner right in that phase when he's still like white belt with less than 2 straps, let's say. So again, don't teach the 50-50 guard, don't teach the inverted de la Riva guard to a person who just started jiu-jitsu. He's not gonna understand what's that and he's gonna get completely lost. So that's my tip here. I hope it helps, Alex. Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.